Yes, my people, good day. Working on a Dodge Charger today. We're going to put front brake pads on it. First thing I do is I turn the wheel so that the caliper is most accessible to me. So I got room between the caliper and the fender. That's the quickest thing. Next, I grab my 13mm socket. These are the anchor bolts for the caliper, and I'm going to break them loose. But on this particular design with Dodge, when you break them loose, the sliders tend to want to turn at the same time. So you want to get a 18mm wrench to put on the slider, holds it sturdy, and then you start working out the 13mm bolt that's holding the caliper into place. There's one on the lower part and there's one on the top. So you just get those two out. After you do that, you're able to now put the caliper to the side. Use your screwdriver to pry between the brake rotor and the old pad to get it out of place. We'll be removing the caliper bracket next. So get your socket. It is a 21mm socket. But first, let me hang this caliper. I hate having it hang by the hose. Milwaukee for the win, and I'm using a 1/2" swivel impact socket trying to get on there to get them loose, but we ran into a problem. There is a bracket on the back there that is supporting something, but it is just in the way, blocking access to the bolt. So grab your 1/4" ratchet. It's a 10mm bolt. Loosen the bracket up a little bit. We can shift it out the way, and then we'll try again and see if we can get on there. Yep, we got on there. Milwaukee for the win. Just a push of a button and it's loose. Comes right out of there. There's no need for a long breaker bar anymore, using up all your energy to break these bolts loose. Just grab the right tool. It's a Milwaukee 1/2" impact. Now we can remove the old rotor. This rotor was warped, also had an edge, and the customer requested a new rotor. These rotors have a film of oil on them from the factory to prevent rust. So you have to be sure to use brake clean to clean that oil off of there. So this is the way I do it. I put it on backwards, spray it off. Then I put it on the right way and spray it off again. Reinstall your caliper brackets. I zip them on with my Milwaukee. And then afterwards, I go back over and make sure that they're really tight. These bolts are supposed to be really tight. Now, next, I am going to push the piston back into the caliper. I like to use this tool because it is very convenient and it works really good. So you use an old pad and you just set the tool up and you just squeeze really hard and it pushes the piston all the way back in. Now, I break out the new pads. I'm looking them over, making sure that I got the right part. Believe me, you get the wrong part sometimes, even though you look up the right thing. Now, I'm reading the instructions of how to do brakes. Always remember to read the instructions. If the pads come with new hardware, replace it. It's not difficult. It just pops right out of place. You put the screwdriver right under there, it pops out, and then the new one, you line them up, you match them up, make sure they look very similar, and then you just put them in place and you just push them down with your thumb and then just snap right back into place. After you replace the hardware, always give the rotor a turn to make sure that it is not rubbing on the hardware, because sometimes the hardware sticks out and you'll get a scratchy sound, and then now you're driving and you're wondering that is. You put the caliper back on, line up the caliper slides, get the bolts lined back up, and it is as easy as that. After you do all of that, remember to tighten everything up really tight. I am now tightening that little bracket back up, and then using my 18mm wrench and my 13mm socket to tighten the slides on the caliper, and the job is pretty much done. Thanks for watching. Thanks for spending the time. Looking nice and beautiful. Have a nice day.